Good evening, Sharpies, and welcome to another edition of Steel, Sharp, and Steel. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Jermaine Taylor. Hey, everybody.
And Joy will be joining us a little bit later. She is enjoying the directorial excellence of Nia DaCosta in The Marvels, which is the latest feature from the MCU. I have already seen it. I can tell you, if you are a nerd who likes MCU movies, the closing credit sequence will absolutely have you squirming and screaming in your seat. So I highly recommend that you go see it. It is well worth the watch. And I think arguably in many ways a lot better than the first one. However, that is not going to be the focus of our show. We have a tight show and there's a lot to talk about. So we want to get started rather quickly. I think the biggest story of the week is all of the exciting election news that we have had coming from all parts of the country. This is an off-year, off-cycle election. And so in many ways, the results are not particularly predictive of what may happen in 2024, which is, of course, a general track election year with the presidential election on deck. And so you definitely can't count on anything to be proven by this year's elections. However, there were some pretty significant things, not the least of which was the election of the first ever Black representative from Rhode Island. That's Gabe Amo, and he is the first ever Black representative going to Congress on behalf of Rhode Island and the full name, Providence Plantation. So let's just come full circle on that one. The brother is the first Black rep from Providence Plantation. So that's a significant achievement. We are very pleased to have him representing his constituents in the state of Rhode Island. There are a lot of folks in Rhode Island that are Cape Verdean. So I hope that Mr. Amo is going to capably represent all of his constituents, but especially the Black folks in Rhode Island. So we're looking forward to his representation. Also, we have a Philadelphia mayor who is a sister. That is Sherelle Parker. And she, I believe, is the first Black female mayor of Philadelphia. So that's quite an awesome achievement in her own right. Very impressive. And there were a number in this election cycle of Black LGBTQ plus or same gender loving persons who were elected to office, not the least of which were 4 who were elected in Virginia. And that is a substantive achievement because Governor Youngkin, who was seeking to get the trifecta, he had a narrow, very narrow majority in the General Assembly, which is the lower legislature arm in Virginia. And the Democrats had the Senate. And he was hoping to flip the Senate and increase the lead of representation in the lower house. But in fact, what happened is that the Democrats held the Senate and flipped the lower house. So everything that he thought he was going to be able to do as far as advancing a legislative agenda that was anti-progressive, he has just gotten a serious setback. And the really interesting thing is that his presidential ambitions have somewhat been blunted because there were murmurs that maybe he was going to be able to sneak in as a late 2024 opportunity if things continue to go the way that they are going for Trump. But it looks like that's not going to happen. I'd like to welcome to the show Joy Stevens, who is joining us.
Hello, everyone.
Fresh out of the Marvels. I just told people that you were at the Marvels.
I just got out. Did you see Jermaine down there?
Yes, but he's having a little camera trouble. So until he gets back, I'm going to move him and let him try to come back.
Yeah, work that out. Oh, yeah. I am fresh back from the Marvels. I mean, I would say that I have my Marvel.
Hey, you do have your Marvel shirt on.
Yeah, this Target special. If y'all, when I tell y'all Target be on point, they've been selling this sweatshirt since February. This was their.
Is that Rogue?
It's Storm, Miles Morales, and Black Panther.
Oh, okay. So it's a
And
black.
it was a Black artist that did this, as well as the blanket I got on my couch over there, also from Target. And it sold so well last Black History Month. They've been selling these. They're on their website right now.
Okay.
I
Outstanding.
saw
Yes,
you the whole
Jermaine.
time. I saw you guys the whole time. What happened?
Your screen was black. Your video dropped out. But let's not do that now. We're going to keep pushing.
Yes.
You not have said
so
anything. I thought I was okay. Go ahead. I was totally looking at you the whole time. That was really weird. I don't know what happened.
So did you enjoy it?
But did I enjoy the movie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
The movie is great. Go see it. It's worth seeing for sure. It does a lot to, it's definitely filling in, it's holding together some disparate plots, right?
It is.
So yeah, this is not a filler movie though. Like it's good. It's a good, like if you didn't know anything about anybody, it would still be interesting. But if you know a little bit, and especially if you followed some of the Disney Plus shows, it's really good.
Yeah, I was kind of over them continuing to call the quantum bands a bangle, but it's not a bangle. It's literally a quantum band, but that's okay. It was an enjoyable feature. So what we were talking about, just as you came in,
What
while
you were
Jermaine's
talking
video
about
was flaking, was the legislative triumphs in our election week, and we separated Ohio as a separate conversation, but we were just talking about the election of the mayor. We were talking about the election of the legislator from Rhode Island, and also the Black LGBTQ plus SGL legislators who were just elected in Virginia. And it should be said that this is a continuation of a trend as far since the revocation of Dobbs that has been a progressive victory on the issue of reproductive health and reproductive rights for basically half the country. So to me, it's encouraging that the tea leaves are going this way. And we can use this as a segue into a bigger issue, which is the Ohio thing. So Joy, why don't you pick up the ball on Ohio and let the good folks know what's good?
You know what? I didn't really think that I would be espousing the benefits of living in Ohio. But they got it right. And when I say they got it right, I mean, they did a decent job. Is it perfect? No. But what they've done is they've added to the state constitution. And you have to remember, state constitutions are the law of the land unless they are superseded by an amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Yeah. So whatever the Supreme Court about to say about this decision, that decision, they don't care. This is in our state constitution. See what I'm saying? And what they've done is they've codified the protection of abortion rights for women in the state up to a certain point. It's not like a free for all, Joe's abortion shack, you rape him, you scrape him. Like there's none of those things. That joke used to go around every year back in the 90s. Sorry, I should not have.
Abortion at 9 months thing. And that
exactly. Abortion at 2 years. Like, what I'm saying, little ass. Right. We're not doing that. But what they've done is, and I'm trying to remember the particulars because I'm still on a Marvel movie high, but basically you can have, and it is your right as a female person or as a childbearing individual to decide to terminate a pregnancy if it endangers your health, if it is a non-viable pregnancy, and if it is the product of violence. Yeah. So which is all anybody's really been asking for. Nobody's been asking for, let me just go, get random plan Bs every Tuesday. People have been asking for, if I feel that this is the best decision for me and my family, I should be able to make it. Yeah. And for some reason, so many conservatives feel like if they allow abortions to happen, God is going to punish them for not punishing me.
Right.
I don't think God works that way. And if you don't want your kid to get an abortion, just don't do it.
Yeah. Adopt your grandchild.
Adopt your grandchild. They don't want to do that though. It kills me.
It happened frequently.
Well, a whole lot of people who can afford such things send their child off to France for
right.
And then she come back with a little sister that they picked up along the way, and everybody raised. Yeah. Auntie Pam is your mama, so we know how that goes. But there's also like that's your family. Say what?
Yeah, I said I'm still trying to find the scripture in the Bible where they say the sins of your neighbor are actually the sins of your own.
I don't think that's in there. You know,
I don't either.
That. Mm-hmm.
But
I'm
you know,
going to do one better. Sodom and
Christian
Gomorrah
line.
was destroyed because of pedophilia.
Yeah.
Also, I do recall, do unto others as you would have done to you, or treat thy neighbor like thyself. So,
Right.
I mean, all of this sort of thing.
Oh, there's even one more.
Go ahead.
In the Old Testament, the Torah, the Jewish Bible, and I'm skating on thin ice here because I'm not 100% sure of how that is segregated, but it specifically talks about saving the mother instead of the fetus, because the fetus is not a human. That is, they talk about that in the Old Testament. And so, you know, if you really want to quote the Bible, quote that, you know. Yeah.
Pentateuch and all that. So this was very exciting because first of all, a lot of the big talkers in the House of Representatives, Jim Jordan comes to mind. J.D. Marsh comes to mind. We're gonna get that. We didn't talk about him in the election news, but Ohio has been like this bedrock place of, you know, very red, except for the major cities, which are basically blue. And what ended up happening, it was a relatively low turnout election, but what they were trying to do before this amendment got on the ballot, they were trying to raise the threshold of what it took to enact a constitutional amendment from simple majority to a 60% threshold. Now, had they been able to do that, it would not have passed. And the Republican-led legislature in Ohio has already said they're going to go about trying to change the amendment, blah, blah, blah.
Repeal it,
it will be easier for them to deal with the recreational marijuana thing, which was also on the ballot as kind of like a last-minute thing. And none other than Rick Santorum said you put something sexy like weed and abortion on the ballot. It's like, wow. That's that sexy combo. Hey girl, let's get high and abort a fetus.
Right.
I've never really,
but that's how they think.
I've never really put much into that adage, so goes Ohio, so goes the nation. You know how they used to say that whatever Ohio thinks pretty much is what the nation's going to reflect. But I'm believing it in this case because I'm really thinking that for the first time, a lot of people who were sleeping on Republican women and their ideas about abortion, they're beginning to see it in real time. They're beginning to see the effects of it in the polls in these elections. So I don't know if this will be a turning point with the Republican Party to pull back away from the whole abortion rhetoric, or if they'll just dig in even more because it's not a winning strategy.
Well, it's the 7th consecutive election where abortion was on the ballot, where abortion was defeated. Where, I mean, anti-abortion forces were defeated. Kansas, Kentucky, these are not liberal bastions.
They're not.
Let's be clear. Michigan, for sure, it was a bit more likely. But in all of the elections where a restriction of abortion rights actually came to the vote of the people, they have been roundly defeated. And so this, I believe, it isn't even the first state constitutional protection, but it is a significant one because, again, Ohio is considered, to your point, Jermaine, Ohio is considered a bellwether. And so the fact that it was defeated by as large a margin as it was, or added by as large a margin as it was, has given people pause. And Fox News and Newsmax, all of them were like flipping out.
Yeah.
And it's
and
like
they're beginning to see it. You hear it in their weekly reports every night. It's like, oh, they're beginning to listen. So I don't know if the politicians are, but they are definitely.
Well, to build on what you're talking about, so goes Ohio. The reason that saying works and lasted for so long is Ohio was one of those central places from which people migrated. You know, you grow up and the surrounding area, states, all that stuff. It's the middle of the country, but it's the middle of the country with a decent amount of education, a decent amount of access, and working class. So they were a microcosm of what the United States generally could look like. And let's not forget, they passed this, and it was a landslide victory for this particular piece of legislation. But 70%, well, 65 to 70% of the country was like, I mean, some sort of leeway should be there. Very few Americans actually feel like abortion under any circumstances is wrong. But you got a GOP that has leaned so hard into the super conservative rhetoric. They can't go back and be like, well, okay, maybe a little bit, because their party, their base that they have been feeding into like rabid dogs for the last 7 years believes that you don't compromise, that makes you weak. You don't cross the aisle. You don't let women do anything. God forbid you let some colored person do anything. And if they roll back on that, they're going to be eaten by their own base. So they've painted themselves into a corner.
Well, there's an interesting little factoid that came out in the aftermath of Ohio. 24% of self-described Christians, fundamentalist Christians, voted for the amendment.
Well, then.
I believe that.
24% of self-described fundamentalist Christians voted for the amendment. Now, the speculation could be that this is more kind of like a libertarian government, don't step on me, kind of just back off kind of vibe, as opposed to
all their granddaughters been getting it in the woods through the whole pandemic, and now they're like,
well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say all that, but clearly that 10-year-old girl, the ad of that 10-year-old girl having to travel out of state, people did not like the rape and incest, no exception for rape and incest. People did not like that. And you got mothers of daughters who were like, so basically what you're saying is that my daughter's going to be traumatized again for 9 months and then for the rest of her life because you wouldn't let her terminate a pregnancy that was not even unwanted, but
foisted on them.
Foisted onto her.
Yeah.
And you're trying to say some states have rights for the rapist and the rapist's family
that shit.
Right.
to force gestation of the child. So Ohio, yes.
Can you imagine? And there's a subset of women that have been through this, and it is a part of the generational trauma of enslaved women to have to face your rapist and raise their child.
Yeah.
Our Black women have been there, done that, which is part of, so if you want the whole world to be bitter, angry Black women, go ahead, do what you're doing. We bitter for a reason.
Right.
The idea of forcing someone who can't even drive a car, right, to have to allow a child that was born of their body against their will and then face the person that raped them and say, you got till 6 o'clock this evening. Like that whole thing is insane.
Right.
Forcing them to have to even see that person is insane. Why would a criminal have right now? They don't have the right to vote, but they got a right to see a child. They force them. All of this is crazy. All of it.
And then to go along with that, Black people, and of course, and I'm speaking of my mom's generation, a little bit ahead of me. They, for the most part, don't believe in abortion. However, they are not going to tell someone else that they can't have an abortion.
Right. Black people know how to mind their business.
Exactly. And so they vote accordingly to those ideas and values. So there's a lot going on there why people are actually going this way in favor and voting against these candidates that are saying abortion is just wrong on all levels.
Another thing that is going to end up biting the GOP in the back is the whole push they've had over 2 generations of states' rights. So if you've been pushing states' rights, well, the states have a right with the states' rights, blah, 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 blah. And Ohio's like, okay, so this is what our state is doing.
Yeah.
You can't just roll back up in there and be like, no, not that.
Right.
And you're going to see border states to Ohio that have more restrictive policies. It's going to result in Ohio becoming a locus unless other states adopt these sorts of things so that they're, so that they don't get that, because they definitely don't want to be perceived as an abortion haven or anything like that. So there you go. And before we lose track of it, I want to throw election news back up on here because Anthony mentioned the side eye for Daniel Cameron. And let's give a big round of applause for the voters of the state of Kentucky for tossing Breonna Taylor's murderer's apologist on the ash bin of history and sending him to an ignominious defeat. Now, it is true that Bashir, the son of a very popular 2-term Kentucky governor, is kind of a thing of his own. Yeah. But it is also true that he could be a strong contender for 2028 as the Democratic standard bearer for POTUS. Let's just keep it a buck. So
I'm not mad at it.
Well, shout out to my girl Tamika Mallory. She has led the charge to bring justice for Breonna Taylor ever since Daniel Cameron shot it down. Remember listening to her once on a podcast. She said, we lost when they pretty much done away with her her trial, the conviction, and everything. But she said protests and politics go hand in hand. And she was making a charge to go after Daniel Cameron and making sure that he doesn't get anywhere near that governorship. They didn't take any outside money. They did all their own fundraising, and they knocked on doors, something akin to what Stacey Abrams did. And they made sure they got the word out that the reason why there has been no justice for Breonna is because of this man right here. And I was really, really glad that she was like one of those, she stuck to it and she galvanized a lot of people. It didn't get a lot of national attraction because, once the story died, it kind of like died nationally, but they kept it going on. And I just want some kind of way for Phi Beta Sigma to revoke the brothers' membership because I'm still mad at Daniel Cameron.
They should just excommunicate him or whatever it is they do.
Can they do something?
Is he a Sigma?
Straight up.
You know
did
what?
Did he pledge undergrad?
He pledged. I forgot the school, but yes, he's a Sigma. He's a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
we all have a few that we don't claim, Yikes.
Does anybody know anybody? Because it's like, dude, you just went against everything. But, and I feel like it was also another blow to Trump losing, because he endorsed him.
Yeah.
And yet again, one of his endorsements didn't, match. Live up to the hype. Mitch McConnell, he's in the, the pool too.
Mitch still alive.
And he polled even way behind other statewide Republicans that were running. I mean, his numbers were really low. So Daniel Cameron is very unpopular in Kentucky.
Well, what he's starting to understand is if you are not immediately and obviously useful to the GOP and you don't fit their aesthetic, they got no love and no use for you.
Yeah.
You can't even pick cotton. They don't want nothing to do with you at this point.
Yeah.
Viva Bubba.
So I don't know where he's going to go from this in terms of his political career, but obviously it ain't the governor's house.
Nah.
And Brashear, speaking of abortion, he pretty much honed into that. He put out an ad as well that I think it was kind of akin to the ad that they did in Ohio talking about a rapist. And he drove that one, and also red flag laws. That was like the hallmark of his platform. So he was talking about red flag laws and abortion. And I think that speaks to where people are right now, what they're thinking. It
resonates with people.
Exactly. Yeah. Women want agency and they also want to feel safe.
Right.
And he's right into it. So I'm really glad for Kentucky.
I think the next thing that we're going to see a wave of states improving is gun availability. I don't think we're going to do any massive changes at the federal level. Not anymore. Nothing additional to what we already just got. But I do think that you're going to see states, especially as their legislative bodies become more independent, more centrist leaning to some basic rational gun control laws at a state level. Maybe not pulling stuff off the streets because I don't think that's ever really going to work or happen, but who can have it?
Just start with the red flag laws and heighten those, beefing them up a little bit. Make sure just give us something to just hold on to make us think that you're doing something to keep us a little safer.
There's plenty of data that says this person who beats their wife is very likely to engage in violence against other people. This person who grew up in a family or home or had drug abuse or whatever, or has been diagnosed, et cetera, et cetera.
Or I just got
real funny acting in school. Don't give them a gun.
If I was on 24-hour watch, just something like that. I don't know. It's too much of a pull to get these people to understand that there are warning signs that are very obvious and they're very rational. That, let's just wait. Yeah, he can buy it, but he can't buy it today. Let's look at it.
Can we get a 24-hour hold?
That's all. So I don't know.
Well, there were more than just electoral politics on the agenda this week. And one of the largest announcements, one of the most substantive announcements that came out today was that Senator Manchin has decided that he is not going to seek re-election. Now, some people are saying that he's kind of clearing the decks for a potential run against Biden. I don't know.
Real quick for Elaine, yes, the NRA is challenging all gun restrictions, all even any form of a restriction on gun ownership.
Yeah,
but
anything that I just mentioned, they're challenging that. Yeah.
Yes, but I do think that this advocating that juveniles have the right to possess guns, I think that's going to bite them in the ass, because we've got way too much evidence that says that anybody under 18 lacks the emotional maturity to make good decisions. You won't let them drink, you won't let them vote, but you'll let them get a gun and kill somebody. It doesn't make any sense. Not that they have recently in recent years, but I also think there's going to be something else where it's very easy to trot out people who have lost a child to them finding a gun in the house, or people who have done things to other folks with guns and have repented. There's a whole lot of testimony to be had to say that that is a step too far, But back to Manchin.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, of course, Manchin has been kind of a quintessential blue dog Democrat. He has pushed back and has helped to slow down or outright defeat certain progressive policies that were trying to be enacted across multiple administrations. Kyrsten Sinema is the other one who actually switched her affiliation from Democratic to Independent to kind of separate herself, which has prompted a primary challenge against her for the Arizona Senate seat. But losing Manchin's seat in West Virginia, which will not be taken by a Democrat. Let's be clear. There's not a chance in hell that there is a different Democrat in West Virginia that is going to prevail, which just means that it's more important than ever before for Colin Allred, for us to support Colin in Texas, for us to make sure that we pick up seats wherever we can.
He's out fundraising Cruz.
Yeah. He is. He's doing very well, and he's an excellent candidate. But if Manchin thinks he is going to, another old white guy who is further to the right than Biden is perceived to be, who has no real appeal to the Black community because the state he's in, the Black community is repressed, I don't see why you think you have a chance. I don't understand it. Biden's in enough trouble.
He comes across so passive aggressive to me. It's like you could have made this decision. Yeah, I feel like he could have made this decision a long time ago and gave us a chance to find a good solid Dem to just run. Granted, they won't win, but just give us some starting room at the gate. I feel like he kind of did it the way he's always done within the Democratic Party, always just try to water it down a little bit before he decides to endorse it. I don't like him,
No, said a mouthful right there.
Yeah. What's that?
Nobody really likes him.
Yeah.
They don't. And so, it's one of those things where he's definitely sticking in the knife and twisting it. Because he could have made this decision a lot earlier. Now it's literally a year to election.
Exactly.
And nobody has the fundraising chops. Nobody's even been thinking about it. Everybody's been thinking.
He left us hanging.
It is a given, and I don't know anything about West Virginia politics. I don't know if there's anybody in the state who has, even 1/10 of the presence that Manchin does.
Yeah.
But, and that's the point, Vince. It should have been a priority for the National Democratic Senate Committee to be looking for somebody, given how twitchy he has been over the last several years. But I think it's also not an incorrect evaluation to say, why would you waste resources there when you know there's no chance you're going to win?
Right.
It's tricky. The last time we had a really comprehensive 50-state strategy was when old boy was over the DNC. That guy who probably really wasn't that bad.
Oh, Dean.
In retrospect, Howard Dean.
Howard Dean.
Oh,
in retrospect,
he had a real 50-state strategy.
How do we all just know that?
Because
that was a meme before we even did memes. That was
right.
He went viral before viral was a thing. He was on every news station.
God,
And just one little sound, torpedoed his whole career. Right.
And I don't even understand that because Trump talked about grabbing women on their hoo-has, and that didn't do nothing.
That's how you know our civilization is falling. That's how you know that the grand experiment of the United States is on borrowed time.
Well, let's talk about some other people who have no chance of being elected. The GOP candidates held their third debate last night. We are down to 5, and it looks like maybe Tim Scott won't make it to the next debate.
Jesus Lord,
please. Next one to fall off.
Yeah, he and his gums are going to have to pack it up. But the thing of note was that Vivek Ramaswamy, it looks like the Eddie Haskell has washed off. June Cleaver has actually seen Eddie Haskell for who he is, as opposed to being charmed by him.
Mm-hmm.
The word on the street in the aftermath of the last debate is that Vivek is a dickhead.
He is.
I mean, that's coming through in his interviews that he is a
he is a dickhead. And when he went after Nikki Haley's adult ass daughter, who Nikki's son has said has already been off TikTok, but you're gonna try to make it seem like she's a 14-year-old living in your house and you better look to your own family. And Nikki said, keep the daughter's she should have said mouth. She should have said mouth. But what she said is, keep my daughter's name out of your voice, which doesn't hit.
Yeah, really.
I feel like she didn't know what that phrase was and was scared for that last
not
word.
Out of your voice, girl.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think Will Smith.
Yeah.
Keep my daughter's name out your mouth. Slap.
He's falling apart at the seams. He made a really, really bad inference last night where he compared, a couple of nights ago, where he kind of quasi-called Zelensky a Nazi. And that story had already been cleaned up. This particular veteran was invited to an event that Zelensky was speaking at. Right. And because they were in the same room, it just sort of got painted on him. And Zelensky was like, I don't know who he is. And it was already cleaned up. Anyway, he sort of called that back last night. And
he didn't sort of call it back. He called it back so inartfully that if you looked at a transcript, you would think that he was calling Zelensky a Nazi. In context, it is more clear that he wasn't, but because he paused the way he paused, it was clear he was playing games, and he wanted people to associate Zelensky with Nazi, even though technically he wasn't talking about Zelensky, but the way he did it was so inartful. That was the thing that led. He called Zelensky a Nazi, and Zelensky's actually a Jew, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So
the optics were not good. They're not good. He didn't think that through.
Yeah, he did not.
But in the beginning, those tactics worked on a lot of people. The way he talked, his savoir-faire, people just bought it. But now that he's been out there a little bit, people are like, wait a minute, let me dissect what this man just said. And then they're seeing all the holes in all of his rhetoric and all of his fast talking and slick oil salesman.
The lights came on at the club, and you see what you're looking at. Like, no.
Not the lights came on at the club. Oh, damn, baby.
Right? Strobe light, honey. I gotta go.
I'm out.
My car's outside. Wait. Yeah.
Oh, Elaine makes a good point. Ramaswamy is unelectable and is simply too immature to withdraw. Yeah. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Can I just say, is it interesting to anybody else that between Bobby Jindal and Nimrata Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy, the GOP has created a lane for South Asian / Indian Americans, and it ain't nobody but Tim Scott on stage representing Black folks?
So you want my analysis of that? Because
I do.
Around the country and around the world, Black is always at the bottom of the leaderboard. Yeah. No matter how you cut it or spin it, no matter what country you're in, even in Africa, the continent, because it's not a country, I know that. But the the idea of being magnanimous towards people of color gets thinner and thinner the more color you have in you. And so that's why you see them trying to appropriate Asians now into white culture because they don't got the numbers.
Exactly.
And half their daughters, especially since they keep overturning any abortion rights, half their daughters are spitting out these mixed babies. Yeah. Right. So they need to both the same way they boasted the numbers with the Irish, then they boasted the numbers with the Italians, yeah. Right? Then they boasted the numbers with Spain and Portugal. Oh, all y'all are white now. Come on, we need the numbers. Yeah. So now they're trying to add Asian, and specifically India, because India's already understood that castes, when they have a tendency, this is not universal. They are not a monolith. However, there is a tendency for them to want to prove how superior they are by being even more racist towards Black people.
Sure.
Right. So them having 3 different, we'll say, options for Indian Americans and only one for Black folks that built this country shows you that they still see us at the bottom of the leaderboard, as in we keep trying to kill you off. You keep coming back. So, I mean, I guess we'll act like we like you a little bit, but if we got any other option, any at all that allows us to say we're not racist, while at the same time keep you oppressed, we taking that. And so that's what you hear.
And I don't want to be really controversial here, but I feel like optics plays a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Remember when Obama was first president, and you would hear some people say, well, he's not really Black, because he's, part white. I feel like the darkness of our skin sometimes hurts us with them. I feel like they want to see something that's a little bit something that they could recognize. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get too much into the colorism issue, but they have this whole exclusive thing about them. And if you don't look the part, it's hard for them to really get behind you. So I really feel like that they have a hard time with just the whole optics of it all.
Right.
I really do.
So you're absolutely right about that, because color is a construct, race is a construct. Mm-hmm. It's really just melanin levels. Because I mean, me and Tom can both tell you the number of people that run up on me talk about I'm darker than you. Oh. Yes, you are. So, I mean, can I get some of that credit score? So it's all over the place. But one of the things that it's an unconscious bias, and it's an unconscious collective bias in every colonized territory across the world, that the approximation to whiteness for so many generations was also an approximation to wealth, an approximation to education, an approximation to land ownership, which meant in a lot, especially in Brazil, in a lot of places, lighter skin was a better life. And if you think about how, even as Americans, with all the pride we have in the US of A, we still think British people sound smarter.
We do.
Than we do. To the point that
not all of them. Jason Statham, no.
I mean, there's refined, but then even as a bad boy, Jason Statham still sounds sexy as a bad boy. You know what I'm saying? Even if you can't understand half the shit he's talking about. But so it's strong all over. The colorism has been bred the same way we have internalized racism. Yeah. Internalized colorism is all over the place. And they are more comfortable with people that they think are still approximating that whiteness. So remember Colin Powell back in the day? They loved him too. Colin about time color, right? So he was also smart enough to be like, y'all ain't putting a target on my back. Shit.
What was his name? Douglas Wilder? What was that brother's name?
Yeah, Douglas Wilder. Your brother.
They loved him.
Mm-hmm. But then you think about Herman Cain. He was a sideshow, right? They never took him seriously.
999.
That bullshit.
I don't know that they take Tim Scott particularly seriously either.
They don't.
But they take him more seriously than Bobby Jindal or Piyush Jindal's own children. I don't know if you remember that announcement video. It's like, hey, guess what, kids? Daddy's gonna run for president. And when I tell you those kids were sipping their juice boxes, like
they were like.
They didn't care. What does this mean for us?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Joy's still looking at her phone.
I got caught up in the text message real quick. My bad.
That was the ultimate expression of nonplussed. Nonplussed at all. But speaking of people who were very plussed, who were plussy, super plussy, and super energetic and super spastic in terms of their very public appearances this week, we had Donald Trump finally taking the stand in a substantive issue after his 2 male children. Don took the stand and really kind of blew shotgun holes in his defense, because people were expecting him to kind of lay it off on his CFO or, you know, lots of people in the company.
He's too weak-minded of a man to ever do something that is in his own best interest. If it makes him look bad or for even a second, he can't, he won't. And that's why they should never have let him testify. We predict anybody with any sense could have predicted this. It's not like we were special with knowing that.
No, but what he copped to when you're in basically the penalty phase of because you've already been found guilty of fraud, and so now it's just a matter of, you know, figuring out how close to 250 million or more you're going to be charged and hit with, and whether or not your companies are going to continue to be allowed to do business in the state of New York. And you just got up there and just started talking reckless. Is how some folks would describe it. He was real reckless, and his little completely wrong.
That one right there made headlines, CJ.
I mean, he was president for 20 days in 2021.
Yeah. Oh, did she verify those emails, Ivanka? Because I heard that most of her responses was, I didn't recall. I didn't recall.
Well, she said that 34 times, but emails you can't do that to.
Okay.
Because then they present an email to you and say, girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, I mean, yeah.
Could you read that, please?
Yeah.
I mean, it says, yep, this is me. This is real Ivanka at gmail.com/Trump. Yes, daddy, it's me.org. So, you know, she couldn't deny those things, but it remains to be seen, because now look, so this is what we got. We got Fani Willis in Georgia. That's state and criminal. And she's still working on plea deals. Okay. You've got Tish James basically shutting down. She's finishing. Ivanka was the last prosecution witness. So now the defense, such as it is, I mean,
I was like, do they even have any witnesses? Because who's going to perjure themselves for this ass at this point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's getting up in front and doing press conferences out on the courthouse steps talking about how wrong Engoron is. Engoron is not wrong. Plus, you don't have the video of Engoron cutting up and slamming his hand on the table, but everybody knows that Donald Trump was slamming his hand on the table.
Right.
Everybody knows that. So you can say all you want. The judge is the only one making the determination. Now, whether or not it is appealed, because it certainly will be appealed, all of these other sorts of things, but you don't need the conviction on this one. This was never going to be something that was going to prevent him from running, except for him to make appearances in court to try to appeal and all this other sort of stuff. This wasn't the meaty thing. You've got Jack Smith champing at the bit on the January 6th trial. You have him pushing and pushing and pushing on the Mar-a-Lago documents trial, and you have Fani Willis. Now, Fani is going to be mounting her case against how many defendants, we don't know. But that's the most dangerous case for him, because he can't squeeze out of state charges with a presidential pardon.
And the more of these dominoes she knocks down, the further up the food chain she goes, getting closer and closer to him. When the people in his inner circle start rolling, they're going to have some very damning things that he won't be able to shake out of. She is the most dangerous to him.
And that's before we get to the fact that
smoke.
Wisconsin said that it's too early to disqualify him. But Michigan is considering the question, and Colorado is oh yeah. He can't lose anything. But he didn't get Colorado and he didn't get Michigan. If they are off the table for this next election, he doesn't have a path. Yeah. So these are very substantive things. Wisconsin would have been better. It's Engoron is going to destroy him. And if he destroys him, and even more so than the fines, if he is barred from doing business in New York, it will eviscerate his whole mirage of wealth and privilege and everything else. So that's the thing that he's really, really probably most concerned about, because I think he does not believe that there will be any consequences for the Georgia stuff.
And that's why he's showing up to these trials, because he doesn't want to lose the chance to do business in New York.
Right.
It's not even the money; it's the doing business in New York for him.
Because those businesses that are registered in New York are established. He can't start a business nowhere. Ain't nobody gonna give him no money for nothing else.
That's why the visibility is so often, because that's what he doesn't want to lose. I have to really, really think about that. Saying, why is he showing up so much? And I was like, I get it now.
No, this is his thing. This is his thing. I mean, there's nothing for him to show up except to go into the skiff to review documents, but he knows he took them things. So he's going to let his lawyers deal with that. And then January 6th hasn't really started yet because they're still dealing with Mar-a-Lago stuff. So, you know, they haven't started anything. Oh, yeah. No. James
like, I think,
nah. Wagwan. No, that wasn't going to happen. He took too long. He could have done it when he first got into office.
But he could have done it in 2017, 2018. But that's that arrogance, you know?
I said Ivanka. If Melania was living in the penthouse, Trump Tower, he didn't want any of that stuff.
She was living over that Tiffany shop where her man was at.
I didn't know that Ivanka was the one that introduced Trump to the bankers at Deutsche. I didn't know she made that connection.
Oh,
That's
really?
Why, she was the one who actually introduced them to.
Ivanka got sense.
Yeah.
So she's the smartest out of all his children.
Right. She was actually his secret weapon. She would accompany him to all these meetings, all these negotiations.
If he would,
she appeared so mild and level-headed and balanced.
If he would have used her for more than his own sick fantasies.
Yeah.
He had a power. That is his heir. If he had treated her as such, they probably wouldn't be in the situation they're in now, because she'd have been sure to clean up her own messes.
Right.
The other two and Jared Kushner just out there acting a whole ass in the world.
Yeah.
And now they are.
And this is where the Hunter Biden stuff is going to come to bite this administration. Because if you think Hunter Biden is dirty, this $2 billion with Jared is nasty.
With a great ass and perfect boo. Did he actually say great ass? I know he
He probably has to himself at some point, but not on microphone.
Wow.
Well, no, he has said on microphone that if she wasn't his daughter, that he would probably date her.
Oh, we all heard that, but I'm saying he's never explicitly said the words "great ass."
Perky boo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like he could have, but
well, he thought it. He thinks it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, he thinks it.
Because he mad.
Well, I don't know because we talked about keeping the show tidy.
True.
And I think we've done a good job of keeping things tidy. There are some things that we have noticed on Al Gore's internet this week. Please. All them boys got warden educations.
But she actually went to school, though.
Well, that's true. I mean, they all attended, but whether or not they earned their degree, or if it was just paid for, I guess is an open question. But there were some things that came on Al Gore's internet that piqued our interest this week. And I'm going to let Jermaine take this first one because I brought it up, but he really jumped on it. So we are going to lead off this final segment of the show with none other than the quintessential Karen who received the most consequences from her Karenity, Amy Cooper. Jermaine?
I can't figure out why, after 3 years, she's still gaslighting us. This was like at the height of the pandemic. Well, not the height, it was in May, when we had nothing to do but just watch our freaking tablets, watch our phones, and see what was going on. We all saw it. If some of us saw it in real time, exactly what she did, what she said. I'm going to call the cops and tell them that a black man is harassing me. And then 3 years later, for her to come out with this essay in the Daily Beast saying that, she really has no accountability and it was all overblown and she just accepts no responsibility as to how it all unfolded. I don't know if she's delusional,
Mm-hmm.
or if she's just doubling down into just being a white woman. You know, because white women love to weaponize their whiteness and their womanhood. So the tears didn't work. Public opinion has already come out against you. She can't find a job. Those were the words she said in the essay. So I don't get why she still wants to reach out to this brother. Something else she points out in the essay. She still wants to talk to him. At this point, what is there to talk about? What is there to like salvage at this?
I'm going to tell you what she's trying to do.
What do you think, Joy?
She wants to get into a room with him so she can turn herself into the victim. All it will take is for him to say, like if he agrees to meet with her at all, the moment they step in a room together, she leans into her white woman tears and all that kind of stuff. He's like, the fuck? No, I'm not here for this. Or no, it doesn't matter what is said. If he leaves without completely forgiving her, she will say he's unreasonable. He wants her to fail. He's trying to ruin her life. All he had to say was that he forgave her. It was a small thing years ago, and he doesn't even have it in his heart to do that. And her life is ruined. And she tried so hard to try to redeem herself. You see how I'm going with this?
But he's actually said those things, Joy. And that was the rub that a lot of Black folks had with him. He was too soft on her. He wanted her.
But when he said those things, everybody else was still hot about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We were like, no, we're not forgiving her. Fuck that girl. But now that years have gone by, some people have forgotten and try to remember what it was all about. If he comes out and forgives her now, there's been enough water under the bridge, as it were, for people to go, yeah, you know, we shouldn't ruin her life, you know, or, well, he forgave her. I mean, I guess whatever. If he meets her with her at all, it will become he's the mean tyrant that would not throw her a bone. So he cannot meet with her. I would advise him not to meet with her at all because he doesn't have to. And as long as he maintains that position of, I won't even meet with you to save my own peace, which is what his narrative should be, to save my own personal peace. I can't meet with you. She cannot twist it into that victimization. But the minute he meets her virtually or in person, she becomes the victim.
The whole thing about that incident that still bothers me, and it bothered me more so when it first happened, the only reason we got other people other non-Black folks on our side with this one, it wasn't because, you know, she was just obviously, you know, weaponizing her white womanhood. I feel like it was because of the dog. Like with the dog being in play, the way she was yanking it the whole time that she was shouting at this guy, there was a lot more sympathy for that dog in the beginning than there was for the actual brother. Day
one, that's what so you have Black people on the internet saying, do you see how she's trying to get this Black man killed? And you had other people on the internet, oh my gosh, she's choking the dog.
Exactly.
So even if he did forgive her, ain't nobody forgiving her for that dog.
Right. So it's like, woman,
they actually took the dog away from her for a short period of time.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, I still get a little bothered by that because I was like, wait a minute, this wasn't all you guys, you know, coming to a Jesus moment on behalf of Black folk. If there wasn't a canine in the fold.
So it's always been that way in this country. If you look up when the ASPCA was founded and when programs for inner city kids or any sort of equal rights was ratified, you will see they've been caring about dogs 100 years before they start caring about us.
What was that brother that played football that went to jail behind those dogs?
Michael Vick.
Vick.
Right. Yeah. And people will forgive, even between two Black men, people will forgive a guy who murdered his fiance and hid in his own trunk before they will forgive a dude that choked out a couple of dogs.
Yes. And we laugh at it because it just seems comical to us. But there's just a whole nother level with them when it comes to their furry friends. That I guess there's just a disconnect between the races. I love dogs, I do, but it stops at a certain point.
I'm not going to defend Michael Vick and the brutalization of those animals that were being fought for sport.
Well, that's not what I'm doing. It was
I understand. I'm just saying, but
we want to go on record and say Michael Vick is dead ass wrong for what he did to those dogs. I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, if we're in the forgiving mood, it would seem that he served his time for that crime according to the law. He served the time he needed to serve. Meanwhile, other people are getting acquitted for murdering human beings, and people are like, well, give him another chance, put him back on the court. You know?
This week, charges being declined in the murder of people in police custody. So while we're talking about the hypocrisy of people's positions on different things, I want to pull up this video that Joy sent because this does need some context. So if you're unaware, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who is the only Palestinian American in Congress, faced a previous censure action at the same time or around the same time that Marjorie Taylor Greene was facing her second censure attempt. And both of those censure votes ended up being voted down. But then she made some comments and they voted actually to censure her this time. So this is the context about this discussion by one of our favorite content producers,
Booker Square.
There you go, Booker Square. So here we go.
He was censured by the House, which is crazy. That's a very rare thing. It shows deep disapproval, and only 26 members of the House had been censured up until this point. So I want to talk about the disgusting statements that she made that caused her to be censured. It appears that she was retweeting tweets from known neo-Nazis like Mark Collette and Lana Lockteff. Lana, who even said at one point, Seinfeld taught me why people don't like Jews. And, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that wasn't Congressman Tlaib. That was Congressman Steve King, and he wasn't censured? Hold on. Sorry, y'all. That is so embarrassing. No, what she actually did was she invited notorious Holocaust denier and white supremacist Chuck Johnson to the State of the Union. I'm so sorry. My sources are telling me that that wasn't her either. That was Congressman Matt Gaetz, and he wasn't censured for that? Okay, hold on. So sorry. Okay, so actually what she did is pretty shocking. She got on the House floor and called black people colored people. I'm sorry, that wasn't her either. That was Congressman Elon Crane, and he also wasn't censured. Hold on. Sorry, I found what she actually said, and it's pretty gross. So she was remarking on the population growth of Indian Americans in the United States, and she made the comment that you can't go into a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts without hearing an Indian accent. Oh, fuck, that was Joe Biden. Shit.
Wow. She's very bipartisan.
Right? She threw Biden under the bus too, right? But I mean, the point she's making, and follow Booker Squared if you want a good educational laugh. The woman is amazing. She is a lawyer and a stand-up comic.
Yeah. She has a bit of a bite though, so you gotta have a little thick skin.
Yeah. She gonna come. Don't come for her until she sent for you.
Yeah.
But she makes a great point about the things that specifically white men get away with saying over and over again, gross and disgusting things that they don't get censored for because it never occurs to the rest of that body to censor them unless they kill somebody in the street, right?
No, kill somebody in the chamber.
In the chamber. That's a slap on the wrist for that.
Kill a white blonde woman holding a fetus in utero.
Yeah.
With a machete that's on
See
fire.
her through the Bible in her pocket.
Yeah.
With a Bible in her hand. With the machete. And they have to then put the body in a wood chipper like in Fargo.
Oh God.
And spray it over the halls of, then you get censured.
Yeah. Darius Jackson is trending. What does he do?
Well, let's not. Before we do that, this is something that is just joyful, and it's joyful for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
But the accuracy. Oh, we didn't. Hold on. Before we do that, because there were a couple of other little things that we had as picture overlays that we thought were kind of funny. We did not mention this particular person when we were talking about elections, so let's pull it up real quick. So this is Fabian Nelson, who is the first out LGBTQ plus state legislator. I believe he identifies as same gender loving. And that's Mississippi, y'all.
Mississippi.
So
that's a lot.
Gay
man.
That's a lot.
Yes.
And it was a low turnout for black folks in this election. So that's a lot.
I was going to say, guys, I'm really gleeful about this, but you can't see me. So I'm
sorry.
Here, I'm gonna put you up. I'm gonna put you up here. Lean to your right. There you go. Yeah, he's gleeful. All right.
He is
Then
reflecting
we
my
had this
demographic.
one. Thanksgiving food is kind of trash now because grandmas these days be 31. They ain't enough pain in that mac and cheese.
Ain't enough pain in that macaroni and cheese. Yo,
Your mac and cheese ain't got enough pain because you're 31.
right. You can't cook
this
soul
dude
food if you
actually-
ain't had no soul breaking happen to you, you know?
Right.
You just cooking macaroni and cheese. You ain't doing
Right.
that.
Yeah, there ain't no government, ain't no colon binding processed cheese.
If you've never had government cheese, can you even make mac and cheese? Or you doing macaroni pie?
When we talk about like our Thanksgiving menu, there should be this air of just joy around the whole topic. But Black folks get this level of seriousness about it. And it's like we just kind of like scoping out, like, who bringing this? Okay. All right.
Well, so we're gonna deal with that right now. So everybody stop laughing because as soon as I put it to the stage, Meemaw's gonna start talking trash.
There's cursing in here. Put your children away.
This is cursing. There is cursing, but this cursing comes from every Meemaw and every Black family at every Black Thanksgiving.
Yes,
so enjoy. Yeah. Okay. Take them off.
Go back to Goose for Auntie Karen to make us some damn macaroni and damn cheese. Since you fucked up the macaroni and cheese, you're cleaning up all this shit by yourself. Junior, Dejana, nor me are gonna help you clean up. We told you don't put that shit in the macaroni and cheese, but you insist on putting it. So since you want to do things your damn way, we gonna do shit our way. We getting ready to go upstairs and go to sleep while you clean up all this shit for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. We love you, but guess what? This shit ain't fair that we couldn't even get a decent thing of macaroni and cheese. We got to wait to go back to Goose for Auntie Karen to make us some damn macaroni and damn cheese. Because you decided to do some bullshit you didn't see off the damn internet. Don't experiment on damn Thanksgiving. Don't experiment on Thanksgiving. You experiment by your damn self.
With cream and cheese before.
Hell, don't try it with us. We don't want that shit. Auntie Karen gave you the damn recipe. But you chose to do shit on your own. Messed our shit up.
Thanksgiving. Yes, right. You know what's in that glass. All the stuff she just said is in that glass. But she said, "Don't
experiment on Thanksgiving." We done told you that you had the recipe. You put that shit on the internet.
Oh my God. You just can't. She did that shit on purpose.
That filled my soul. That I know that's right.
How do you get that shit to melt though?
What, government cheese?
Yeah, it's like the hardest thing to melt.
You need a cast iron something.
I guess you do.
And milk. It needs some milk and then some salt.
It needs some milk.
You got to put it on like real low and just let it ride. It will melt eventually.
One of the
you
sisters
don't
from
need
my granny's church
in your
would
mac
bring
and
it over.
cheese, by the way. You don't.
What'd you say?
You don't need eggs.
You don't need eggs for mac and cheese?
It
No.
depends if you're gonna bake it or not.
Yeah.
And how you
Even if
start
you
it
bake
off.
it, yeah, but you don't.
Right.
How do y'all feel about banana pudding? Are y'all the same way with banana pudding?
I make banana pudding and it's good.
Yeah, I can make one, and I can make one with no bacon, and it's really good. But people have to like taste it before they understand that it's really good.
Right. I've had people like poo-poo my no-bake macaroni.
Mine too, banana pudding.
Banana pudding, and then steady be trying to go in the kitchen and get some more.
Hell yeah.
I see you. Thought you didn't like it. Put it down.
I will say this.
What about you, Tom?
Call it sacrilege. I'm not a banana. Oh, look at that little feature.
What is
I did a
that?
thumbs up and I put a little animated thumbs up on there.
Oh, wow.
I am not a banana pudding person.
Put CJ's comment back up while he's talking.
Oh yeah.
I am not a sweet potato pie person. If you take that big log and you slice it and then you cube it, it's much easier. It's much easier to incorporate it into your. I mean, most Black folks wouldn't call it a bechamel, but if you incorporated cubed government cheese on top of the milk that you're using, and if you have a roux and all that other sort of stuff before you get into it, by the time you get into the government cheese function area of it, it will melt. Because I mean, Velveeta, I mean, government cheese is basically just bootleg Velveeta. Velveeta melts super
Velveeta
easy.
with a higher melting point.
Correct.
But what's
So-
with all these new age people putting like Gouda and cheddar and all these different types of cheeses in it?
Yeah, the
Like-
No,
Gouda
you put
and the
cheddar
mon-
in it.
Are
like-
we okay with that?
So here's the
No,
thing.
you have to put cheddar.
I'm not cheddar, but you know, like the fancy cheeses. Are
Right.
we okay with that?
So, well, here's the thing. What that woman was just talking about, the lady said she put cream cheese in her
Mhm.
macaroni and cheese. It's for a specific level of like tartness to add to it. Some people put sour cream. Some people use like Munster and some of the stinky cheeses to try to get that same look. It's all an affectation. You don't need all that for macaroni and cheese. You don't. But I will say, you know, I like a 3 or 4 cheese, you know, mix.
Mm-hmm.
And anything more than that, you just add shit to be doing something. You don't need all of that. But they do add certain flavors. I've had macaroni and cheese with smoked Gouda in it, and it tastes very good. That is not what I want for Thanksgiving, though.
That's not what I want for that. Yeah. Now, do we like a burnt topping, a burnt crust? Do we like it all cheesy and melty all over?
I like both. I need you to be able to figure out that equilibrium where it is almost crunchy across the top, and then you get gooey and cheese pulled.
So you want a
Correct.
casserole, like where it's like or you can chunk it, or you want it running all over the plate? Because
You need to chunk it. It don't need to run.
No, I need it. I need it cheesy, but I need it together. It's not Kraft macaroni and cheese with a loose sauce. It is real macaroni. It doesn't have to be macaroni. I like a orecchiette pasta. I like something that holds the sauce.
Yeah.
I like different little things, but I want it to be solid. And I don't like it when people cook the pasta too long before it's baked. You have to back out some of your bake time so you have it like on the just this side of al dente before you pull it out.
Yeah.
Like almost baby crunch. Like I want to push back.
You need to
before you
think
put it
in
the
your
oven.
mind, this needs to cook a little more. That's when you take it out, because it's going to cook a little more when you put it in the oven. It also means you need to add a little bit extra. It should be a little bit extra fluid when you put it in the oven, so that when it does come out and the macaroni is done completely, your thing is not dry. I don't want macaroni and cheese that looks like lasagna. You know, like you can almost see the egg in it. You know, that's also wrong.
No, it's got to be creamy under the crust.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I like. Creamy under the crust.
Creamy under the crust. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I do collards. I since we segued, because I want to keep time, because Jermaine turns into a pumpkin at 7:01. So we want to get done in the next 16 minutes. Because when I tell you, as soon as the credit roll on the end of this show, can I tell you how quickly Jermaine teleports out of this damn show?
Yo, we'll be like, and this is steel, sharp and steel. Jane, gone.
I make a bone broth before I do my greens, and I create a bone broth with a smoked turkey neck or like a smoked turkey leg or a thigh.
Mm-hmm.
I really, because I got my Instant Pot, I'll do a 2-hour bone broth with some onions in there, just to really kind of pull all of my flavors together for my pot liquor. And then once I got my greens together, I don't like greens that disintegrate.
Yeah.
I like my greens to be a little al dente. So after I chop them, it doesn't take very long for them to cook. Now, I will say this. I will put a couple of teaspoons of fish sauce in my greens because I like that extra tang. Fish sauce gives a nice seasony, salty umami.
It's an elevation over using vinegar, where you just get the tang, you just get the bite. This is a bite with a little bit of like butteriness and like a little bit
Yeah,
I definitely, when you eat Asian food and you don't know what it is you like about it, that's what fish sauce does.
As opposed to just using vinegar.
Yeah,
I like fish sauce.
I know.
So if you come to my house, and you're not even gonna know, because it's not like I'm gonna say, well, I mean, I guess I'm telling the internet.
Yeah, I'm riding with Sedita because I'm a turkey tail type person. I will put turkey tail.
Anything that has the smoke, I'm good. I'm good. Anything that brings the smoke flavor, and the pot liquor is delicious.
Now here's the thing: if you really want to, if you if the water doesn't taste like you want to drink it, your greens are not going to be that good.
Are not going to be good, right?
I'm just saying.
No, you gotta want to take the pot liquor with a spoon, and like you want to drink it like it's tea, right?
You want to be able to.
If it doesn't have enough flavor for that,
cornbread.
Yes, with the cornbread. Yes,
take the cornbread and sop it up, and that's a whole nother meal right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, bless his name. That's like y'all done sent me to church right now. In church.
You felt it in your spirit, right?
We do fried corn. We don't do a green bean casserole. I do green beans, sauteed with garlic and lardons.
I only see green bean casseroles when I go to Friendsgivings, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah,
that's just because it's easy, but it's trash.
Well, he's saying a little bit more than that. He's talking about greens.
No, I know. No, Friendsgiving. We know. You're talking about tall people.
Yeah. Because I'm not
That's a euphemism.
Casserole guy. Yeah.
But you know what I would love? Go on ahead and drop some of your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pumpkin. Oh no, what's her name?
Sadita. I'm not a big enough fan.
What's her name? I'm going in the comments.
Somebody put a comment in that is.
What's her name? We need to like get in our respective cars and head over to.
Oh, look at Anthony trying to snitch on people. Anthony, be quiet. But yeah,
Sadita.
It was
Sadita Pumpkin.
Sadita
Pumpkin. Oh no.
She ready to bring it. She got hands.
Are you?
She got pumpkin pie in hands.
Spice craze too.
Y'all fight over that orange bullshit.
Oh
in a
my
pie if you
God.
want.
I'm gonna be over here with the peach
pecan pie. I make derby pie, which is delicious.
Okay.
So, and it's got
familiar with derby pie, but I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what Hot John's was until
which is where my daddy is from, and my grandmother made it, and it's delicious.
Derby pie.
Peach cobbler with salted caramel accents.
Peach cobbler, pound cake. My mama's pound cake is legendary.
I'm going to do another plug for a Black-owned business. This came into the public eye when Walmart had their crazy Juneteenth nonsense a couple years ago. Creamalicious is now being sold in Walmart and Target and a couple other local grocery stores. So if you see, you know what? Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you what you're looking for in the. Make sure I get
she's got a pound cake one. She's got a pecan pie one. She's got a peach cobbler one. She's a Black woman. It's an ultra premium ice cream. They even had it out here.
What's the name of this ice cream again?
Creamalicious.
Creamalicious.
Diabetes. Okay. Yeah, Aunt Pooney's caramel pound cake.
Pooney's caramel. When I tell you, this is, you lose time when you eat this because you'll put a spoon in it and then you'll say, oh, I should put this back. And there's only a spoonful left. What the hell just happened? Why is it 10 p.m.? What happened to my whole afternoon? Did I just watch a whole movie and eat a whole pint of ice cream?
And let it temper. If you let it temper so that it's actually creamy when you start to eat it. Now I can't do that anymore.
I can't do dairy because I have a precondition.
But listen.
Is it worth the risk of just being alone that entire night?
Oh, it's very. It's. Well, I also did a whole thing about it. So, but yes.
Yeah, I've tried all of the pound cake. The caramel pound cake is my personal favorite. The red velvet probably is mid for me in the roster. This one, there's a bourbon pecan one. There's a peach cobbler one, which is good, and it's got like graham cracker chunks in it. And then the red velvet, I mean, it's just red velvet. It's not as good as the other ones. Yeah, but support this system because and this is worth. This is worth the horror movie in the bathroom later. If you're lactose intolerant,
that's me.
This is the one to go out on.
Okay.
You know?
As a matter of fact, for this Thanksgiving, if you have access to Creamalicious, and you can go to the website, go to Creamalicious, and it will tell you what stores in your market should carry it. So go and support this woman because the ice creams really, really are delicious.
You can order them online and they'll be delivered with dry ice.
Yeah, like Bluebell. So, but we're not supporting Bluebell. We're supporting Creamalicious. Go support Creamalicious.
Mind your business, Chad. Anybody ask you to analyze how I got off screen, Chan?
Damn you to hell, Chan.
You did kind of do
You're
it.
observant ass.
Yeah.
So,
I low key saw nothing. I was like, I wonder what she got on at the bottom.
So among the last things that I want to show, because this is something that has come up. There was a whole series, thanks to AI art. There's this whole thing of AI just like doing stuff. And so what happened was somebody a week or two ago put AI to work and started making these horrifically jacked up Pixar movies. And I mean, most of them were like hella racist and really horrible.
Did you see the one based on the Full Metal Alchemist though?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Bruh, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's esoteric, so y'all don't need to see this one, but yeah.
But this one absolutely took me. And not just because my version of the Montgomery Brawl video got nearly 1 million views across platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw this, I had to drop it into the chat, and then Joy clipped it for us. So this is Pixar's version of the Montgomery ship attack. Now, I will tell you, just today, the co-captain has been charged with third-degree assault. Now, we all saw the video. They attacked him first, but some guy who ended up wandering into the fray says he wasn't trying to do nothing, and he got hit in the face. And so this guy's been charged with third-degree assault. But this is the Pixar version, and it's just called Brawl. And when I saw the smiling dude in the beard with all of the tats, I was done. And the dude smiling with the white chair and the crossed eyes, and Aquaman in the background with the afro smiling.
Oh boy. I didn't even see that.
It absolutely sent me. And we want everybody to enjoy your Veterans Day. The federal acknowledgement of Veterans Day is tomorrow. And then
I'm not here next week, guys.
That's right. And next week is going to be the beginning. Like if you have kids in grade school, a lot of people are getting the entire week off. Like my son doesn't even have school on Friday, and then he's got all the way through next Friday. So we're going to be doing that. And we want everybody to make sure that you don't mess up any macaroni and cheese recipes.
If you don't know what you're doing, just say that.
If you don't know what you're doing, you don't have to do it.
If you're going to impress your family with something different, don't.
And you know what's almost impossible to mess up? Making your own cranberry sauce. And it's a lot better than that jelly bullshit. You just get you a bag of cranberries, you get a cup of sugar, you heat the sugar in water, and then you pour the cranberries in there, and it pops and it thickens by itself. You don't have to add anything. And you can put a little orange zest in there.
I like my slices though. I want the slice. I like
the ripples.
What you do is you pop the can and you run the knife around the inside. And then you shake it and you just
scratch.
You literally just went against the grain of everyone in the culture right now. Do you know?
No. We're telling you to bring ice. That's what you do now.
Okay. I don't want anybody's cranberries. I don't want nothing running on my plate. That's a cranberry.
It doesn't run. It thickens up. And you've got the cranberry chunks. Listen, you make it fresh, and you're never going to get that can again. The can is bullshit. If you like cranberries, you should make your cranberry sauce fresh. That's what Ocean Spray wants you to do.
The little bougie ass. She's so
we do, because that's some bougie stuff right there.
The cranberry sauce is bougie.
About macaroni and cheese and like adding all the extra cheeses. You were like, I know your whole face was, but I do that though. Like you didn't say nothing. I
here for the Derby pie. I'm here.
I like the smokiness of Gouda. I also add there's a seasoning from Trader Joe's, a South African smoky spice that adds a little smoky flavor too.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can on the menu. But yeah, you got some raw to put you with the homemade cranberry sauce. That's something that I would try
It's super
I've
easy.
had it,
Yeah.
and I just can't.
I would try it just to try it. I wouldn't serve it, at least not the first time out. I'd have to be convinced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a tradition in our Thanksgiving household for going on 15 years.
Yeah, I have not graduated. Mind you, I'm the matriarch of my family at this point, but I have not graduated to doing the turkey. I'm still getting the turkey from somebody else. But
Yeah, that's
I'm all everything else from
we
scratch.
taking ours to brother man down the street so he can deep fry the brother and have it back
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving morning.
I have had some good deep fried turkeys, and we literally have 3 minutes, Jermaine. So don't start another conversation. You were the one asking if we were going to keep it to 7. So you need to shut the F up is what you need to do with your fried turkey ass. Because we fixing to turn on the shit.
He's
So-
so mad about that cranberry
I am
sauce.
already moisturizing.
I ain't mad about nothing because y'all are missing out on the deliciousness.
I want the
That
dirty
shit is
pie.
delicious.
I want the
delicious.
dirty pie. That's all I'm
Delicious. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. You non-paladin.
It was. You wait a minute. Y'all were against me last.
Thank
week.
you,
It was your turn to
Sadida.
get the smoke. Hell.
Right. Everybody got
with
their
your
turn
pumpkin pie.
on the hot seat. Right.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't like an oven bag, Sadida. I cook my turkey low and slow. 400 for the first hour to kill the bacteria on the surface, and then down to 200, 1 hour per pound of turkey, so that the internal temperature doesn't exceed 165. It's delicious, moist, tender,
Elaine has
beautiful.
it's beautiful. That low and slow is a great way to cook it. Another great way to cook it, like
Great way to do a lot of things.
is honey baked ham. Does a very good job of having a turkey. Don't sleep on Popeye's turkey though.
Popeye's turkey is the bomb. And it's a reasonable size. Now, I do slow and low turkey because we have a double oven. And so you don't have to juggle as much. You can't really do a low and slow turkey unless you're doing it on a grill, and it has to be a gas grill because you got to maintain temperature, or you have a double oven. It's impossible to juggle all the rest of the bullshit you got to do for Christmas or Thanksgiving if you don't have a double oven, if you're trying to do a low turkey. But I always do it like a lamb, almost like a lamb.
If you tell me you did your turkey in the air fryer, we gonna stop being friends. Whoever you are.
That's a small ass turkey too.
It's a turkey wing and a turkey leg that started off raw when you can get smoked turkey wings and smoked turkey legs from the store. And then you
all right, it's 6:59.
You see the trauma here. I had this happened. This happened to me. And I would never get enough of that.
We are going to have a show next week, and we're working on a best of so that you all can watch something after you're in your near food coma. So I will say, I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
And I am Joy Stevens.
And this is Jermaine teleporting out of this job.